Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I am your host tonight, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, we're going to forget about you for a second, like always.
Always.
I am super excited for this one, guys. This is on. Like I was talking to him before, and I don't know if I was hyping him up or not, but this is the man, the myth, the legend. Like he's the social media, the social media guru that isn't the Angels. That makes sense. You are the man, honestly. Angels top plays on Instagram, of course, and Twitter. Andrew Gatto, how are you doing, my friend? And no, give us a spew. Like, where can we find everything? Like, tell us about everything. Like, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, man, you really do hype me up, and I do appreciate it. Jared, Nate, great to be on with you guys. I am on Angels Top Plays. That's my home. That's my baby. On Instagram, Angels_Top Plays, and then I'm on Twitter, Plays Angels, and that's really where I kind of just go and tweet without thinking. Sometimes regret it, sometimes get some flack for it, but it's just my off-the-cuff thoughts that I go to and vent with the rest of Angels Twitter.
I think we all have to vent occasionally at this team, unfortunately. You know, it's just something that. Yeah, it has to happen from time to time. So, Nate, I guess we got to get to you. How you doing?
Good. That's what this is for, right? Chance to vent and, talk baseball. So, really good to be here. Good to have Andrew on.
Absolutely, guys. So, if you're not, which I feel like everybody does, how many followers you have. Everybody has to follow you by now. But if you don't, go on and follow him. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him on Instagram. He does a fantastic, unbelievable job. Like I said, I cannot preach it enough. I can't preach enough. He does an absolutely amazing job on Instagram and Twitter. So go follow him on all those. And guys, don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. You can follow us Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're getting back onto everything. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well, because, you can see us now if you're watching us. It's kind of cool. You can follow myself at Jared_Timms. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34. And Andrew, again, tell us where they can follow you on Twitter and Instagram, of course.
Angels Top Plays on Instagram and Plays Angels on Twitter.
Go do all that, guys. So like I started off the podcast, the show last time with John, I want us to do a little rapid fire with Andrew here. Nate, if you want to chime in, you can. I don't need it. I don't need you here. But you can chime in if you want. So just
fair.
That's fair. Just some rapid fire questions here for you, Andrew. Favorite sunflower seed?
Well, I liked the what am I trying to think? I'm blanking on it. The cracked pepper from Spitz, but I'm also a proponent for the salted caramel. I catch so much flack for that because it's such a weird flavor. Jared's celebrating. I've found a new friend because I do love that flavor. And people are like, what are you doing eating that? I'm like, it's kind of good.
I love it. It's my favorite seed. It really is. Like, coaching-wise, I just grab a bag. I'll have two bags. So I'll go through one bag during a doubleheader, and the next day we have another doubleheader, and I go through another bag. And everybody on the team hated me, but I absolutely love them. I have a sweet tooth, though. That's a bad thing for me.
They're with you. Yeah.
He hit on both of ours.
Yeah, he hit Nate's
impressive.
Pepper, and yeah, dude, you are the combination.
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
I'll bridge the gap here.
That's awesome, man. So, Brandon Marsh or Joe Adell?
Oh man.
You don't need to get any hate for that. You won't get any hate from this one, I know. But
there's such a pair. You're gonna make me choose. I had Joe Adell on a live stream about a month ago and got to see more of him than just a player, and just made me come out loving him more. So because of that, right now I'll say Joe Adell. But I'd like to see both of them on the Angels for a while.
100%. Both fantastic people in general, beyond the baseball scene. Both fantastic, but both fantastic baseball players as well, and hopefully have a long, illustrious career. So, favorite color Gatorade, favorite flavor, should I say?
I like, what is it, the light blue, like the Glacier Ice, I think, one of that old classic ones. Yeah, you got it right there. Oh man,
of course.
We're the same person. What's going on here, man?
We're on. This is fantastic. This is great. This is great. So, what's the best topping for a hot dog?
I'm a straight ketchup guy, and that's basically it. Like I'm a simple hot dog, and maybe that's like just the fact that I didn't grow up in a big city or something like that. I wasn't eating hot dogs very often. I eat hot dogs at baseball games on the 4th of July, and that's basically it.
Yep.
So, ketchup for me. I hate mustard with a passion. So
I honestly think we're the same person.
Did you feed him? Did you
weird.
feed him the answers beforehand or what?
This is great.
I think I listened to your guys' last podcast. I remember Nate. I think, did you say you were a big mustard fan?
No,
John
mustard.
did. John.
John's a mustard.
John said that. Okay. All right. I'll make sure I'm not stepping on any toes in this conversation. But
no, you're good. Obviously, I'm a chili dog guy, to be honest. I forgot to mention that last time. I love chili dogs, but I mean, if I had to pick just a normal topping, I didn't have chili. Ketchup would definitely be the way to go. So, and I think Nate, were you
Ketchup, a little bit of onion.
there you go. So not too bad. What are you wearing to a game? A real jersey or a t-shirt jersey?
I'm a real jersey guy. I got a Mike Trout jersey and I got a Rod Carew jersey. That's one of my favorite things to wear.
Nice. Nate, I don't think you've answered that question before. What are you, t-shirt?
Real jersey.
Okay. I guess it kind of depends on the day for me. If it's too hot,
Yeah.
I don't like it. But
Of course.
I've definitely sweat my butt off in some real jerseys before.
Absolutely. So, all right, that's it for rapid fire. I just wanted to get us all going here. I'm excited. That was great. Like we became best friends. Favorite dinosaur on 3. 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
Dinosaurs.
Oh, dang it! All right.
So the pointy, pokey tail. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
That's great. All right, let's get on to some baseball talk. I mean, not that those questions weren't baseball related, but let's get on to some baseball talk. News came out today of possible robot umpires, actually definite robot umpires in AAA. Nate, this is something that I know you've been wanting to talk about forever, for a while. As two pitchers here, did you play baseball as a kid? What'd you play?
I did. I played third base for the most part. Third base and catcher.
Sweet. Oh,
well, catcher, so he might be on our side.
Yeah, you might be. So let's start with Nate here, because I know Nate has this weird bone to pick with this robot umpire thing. I'm kind of on the fence with both ways. I understand both arguments, but Nate, go ahead, throw us your pitcher argument.
Well, I just hate it because I was the guy who didn't throw hard. So I was the guy who hit spots, and it was like, I want to get rewarded for hitting my spot. I don't want to watch some guy throw 97 and miss a spot by 15 feet and it crosses the zone. It's like, oh yeah, we'll give it to him. Like, come on.
Sure.
Part of it is, can you hit a spot? Like, that's part of the finesse and part of the game. And I like the human aspect of it. Like, some umpires are, hey, I'll give you a half off, or I won't give you a half off. And, it takes a little bit to find that out. So I think it really kills guys like Kyle Hendricks, who I love to watch pitch. It kills, guys like that, where it's like, okay, Kyle, you're probably done pitching because you're not going to get, a ball off the plate, maybe a half ball off the plate. Now you have to throw 86, 88 over the plate and, have fun watching guys hit that all over the yard. So I don't know. I just think that's a really bad move, especially AAA. AAA is the worst, and, you guys get into that. But just to have it in AAA is the worst possible league to put it in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. I like I said, I stand on the border both ways. I understand. Like, I want to bring the most effective way to officiate a game into it. Like, I like football. I love the way that football does it. I think that football does a fantastic job with officiating and being able to review a lot of stuff and get things right. But that's football, though. Like, you almost have to get things right. There's like not a place for human error in a sense anymore.
Football, you can be like, do whatever. Like, there's holding on every play. They could call whenever they want. Pass interference is very 100%. Questionable. Like, that's the same thing. Like, if pass interference is questionable, why can't balls and strikes be questionable? Yeah.
And the first thing that comes into my head is the El Duque no hitter. I think I could totally be wrong, where you just see him like hitting 6 inches off the plate. Like, that's a little too much for me. And I agree. Like, you look at some of the old games, Levon Hernandez no hitter, I think, as well. I think that might have been it, where you see him hitting like foot off the plate with his 2-seam fastball, and it's like, that's not a strike, but I get it during the moment and such like that. Andrew, I don't know if you have a side on this. What your thought is on that?
I find myself in the middle for sure, and I'll pull in the catching perspective. Is that I love and appreciate someone who can frame a pitch. 100%. Like, it's become one of my favorite aspects of watching baseball in the last few years, as that's become more of a trackable statistic. And watching Martin Maldonado and Max Stassi just be elite pitch framers, that's something I super enjoy, and that completely gets eliminated with the robo ump. Of course, I also hate when a game goes one way because you just have a terrible umpire back there. But I think that if there's like just greater accountability in the umpire, within the umpire staffing, that maybe that's something that kind of gets corrected. But you still do hate to see, not oftentimes, but there's times where games come down to just a bad call, and it's tough. And sometimes it goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. And it just depends on where you find yourself on that. But if we were to go to robo umps, I would very much so miss the skill of pitch framing.
100%. That's a big aspect that's going to be missed too, because what are you going to throw behind the plate now? Because Max Stassi then becomes nothing.
Irrelevant.
Exactly.
Irrelevant.
His values like nothing. Like, because his bats, here so-so. Maybe there's something there, but where a lot of these guys pull in a lot of their value as catchers are their defensive skills as a catcher. And it's how can you call a game, how can you catch a game, and then how many balls can you get called in that pitcher's favor? And that's pitch framing. And that's something you're definitely going to lose if you have a robot telling you what's a ball and what's a strike.
Gary Sanchez goes from middle of the pack to bottom third catcher to top third catcher. You know, like maybe a top 3 catcher at that point, because all he does is hit home runs. And it's like, dude can't catch to save his life. Got a cannon behind the dish, and he rakes. That's literally all you're asking for, is a guy who rakes and has a cannon.
Yeah, what's saving anything from putting Nelson Cruz behind the plate, you know? Like, that's honestly, like, you know, I mean, minus how old he is in a sense. Like, Nelson Cruz isn't a catcher, obviously, but, like, that's exactly that. Like, I mean,
just put a net back there and let's have two DHs. It's fine.
I just feel like it's a very I mean, the more and more you think about it, it's very, you know, offensive. Like, let's bring more offense to the table. Like, the catching position is by far the worst offensive position, I think, on the diamond. Without looking at stats, I'm fairly certain that that's got to be the worst offensive position. And, you know, it feels like, let's just bring more offense to the table. You know, let's hurt pitchers more. And I'm okay with it. Like, I totally understand both sides. Like, and I wouldn't be upset either way. Like, if we see robot umpires, that's cool. You know, like, we're getting the game right in a sense. But I also respect all the arguments that you guys have given as well, which is, you know, like, you're basically getting rid of catchers. In a sense, Nate, this has been your argument forever. Manfred's been trying to get rid of left-handed pitchers forever, and
they're gone.
I think we'll kind of discuss this. Left-handed relievers, in a sense. We'll just kind of discuss this a little bit more down the road with the CBA arguments that we'll have here in a bit. But yeah, you know, it just feels like it's moves that don't need to happen. I'm cool with it. Again, like I said, I'm fine with it. It is what it is. It's bringing more perfection into baseball. But you need a human element in baseball. Like, that's one of the only things that you actually need a human element in. Like, golf is another thing. I feel like you can make errors. Like, playing golf video game isn't that fun because there's no human element. Like, you can go shoot a 15 or 30 under in golf when you're playing a video game. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm intrigued to see what happens in AAA. I don't think it's the right spot by any means. That's a horrible spot for it, because you're just bringing guys up and down from that spot, and it's just going to mess with them. I'm in 100% agreement with what Jared Weaver had to say about it. Wasn't anything crazy, but he did seem like fire off about it. But I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. We'll kind of see how it goes. I'm excited to see how it goes in AAA. And I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts on this robot umpire thing.
One last thing for me. Andrew kind of brought up, it would be nice to see some accountability from the umpires, and I think it's hilarious. The KBO just came out a couple weeks ago, and they said that they are going to be their umpires will be individually evaluated, and those with poor grades will get demoted to the minor leagues. So they're going to grade every single umpire every single game and say the top 60 or whatever it is going to stay in the big leagues, and then the bottom half is going to go down, the top half of the minor league is going to go up. And I think that's awesome. Like, the big leagues should do that. There's already on Twitter the
umpire
scorecard. Yeah. Like, how hard would it be to take that and be like, okay, hey, this is where you suck, you know, Angel Hernandez, or put in whoever you want, and you know, you got to get better. If you want to stay in this league and you want to make this money, you got to get better. If not, like, have fun umpiring single A, because, you know, this is everyone's job. This shouldn't be like, oh, you know, I volunteered to do this and I get to be here. Like, no, you should have to earn your job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a rule proposition for you guys. What if you were able to challenge strike 3 or ball 4?
I had that thought, and I was wondering if, like, you give each team, you get like 3 challenge calls, because at the end of the day, like, these balls are already being like computer like tracked, right? You could like challenge it and you can have an answer within 10 seconds of was this ball or strike, and that really puts pressure on teams not to be like calling every single ball or strike and challenging it, but really saving it for, like, you know, that 8th inning where you got the bases loaded, 3-2 count, and then, you know, it's a ball or it's like a strike, and you know, end the inning on something like that, and you really want to question it. So I think it'd be super interesting. I think it's another fold to the rules of baseball. It's another fold to challenges in baseball. But I think it's a nice middle ground.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. That's something that's always been in the back of my head. Like, why not be able to? You have the technology. Why not be able to challenge it? You know, like, NFL tried to challenge, and we'll constantly go back to the NFL because Nate and I think the NFL does it pretty well. Pretty good job of it. We always, you know, the NFL was able to challenge. They were able to challenge pass interference for a year. And then it was like, okay, well, that's not going to work, and that went away, obviously. But yeah, I think that you at least got to try challenging it in a sense, like that you have the technology to do it. You need to do something. I don't know if robo umpires is the way, but you got to be able to try to do something. And Nate, I know you had something to say on that part.
Two last things. One, the reason why I would
You had the last thing last time.
Well, you brought something else up. So first of all, the first argument was, if you're allowed to challenge, you're probably not going to get as many managers kicked out. You're not going to see as much emotion, which leads to my second thing. Managers are literally going to be a GM writing a lineup card. And I mean, half the league's already that way. You look at Scott Service and, some of these guys, it's like, are these guys actually doing anything? No, probably not. They're probably getting a phone call from the GM and some stat guy saying, you got to do this, this, and that. So
possibly Ray Montgomery next
year.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. So if you start challenging these things, it's going to become, if you put robo-ops in the big leagues, it's literally going to be okay. I don't need a manager anymore. Just somebody put up the lineup card and, tell us when to get hot. Like, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. There's a side of me that says traditionalist. There's a side of me that says we need to move forward with things. That's a tough part of baseball too. Like you gotta realize what things make it better and what things make it worse. And I think that's what Rob Manfred has done a very bad job of here. And I don't think we have really much else to say about that to this point. But Andrew did bring up a really good, talking point for us here. And Nate, I picked for you. You're welcome. You two are going to battle it out. I'll kind of be that middleman. I feel like I can kind of, see both sides pretty well.
Arbitrator.
We don't like you.
Yeah, arbitrator. I'm the arbitrator. I'll debate who gets money by saves and wins. You guys are welcome. But Nate, you'll be arguing as the owners. You're welcome for that because I know.
Thank you. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nate, you're Artie Moreno and Rob Manfred. Andrew, you can be the players. Andrew Heaney is a good way to go with that because he is one of the main guys when it comes to players. Mike Scherzer's another guy too. So the first talking point, Nate, I'll let you argue it on the owner's side first.
Oh boy,
you can do this. It's not that hard. You can do this.
Close your eyes. Imagine a billionaire.
Yeah.
You have a lot of money right now, Nate.
I'm a billionaire.
You are
a billionaire.
Just for now. The first thing we will argue here is manipulation of service time. Nate, that was on your side of things. I let you pick that one. So argue for keeping the service time as is, or I guess maybe try to come to an agreement here with this. See if we can do that.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to be 100% on manipulating service time here. I think that the players should be okay with the proposal.
Whole thing.
I think the players should be okay with the proposal we gave last week. We gave them their teams will get an extra draft pick if they finish in the top 3 in Rookie of the Year, VP, or Cy Young. And I think that's a big thing because more games means you're probably going to finish in the top 3 as long as you perform. So I think that's a pretty fair offer. And I think also to go along with that is we're allowing them to come out of free agency in 5 years instead of 6 years. So yes, we're probably manipulating it a little bit, but there would still be that 6 years. You wouldn't have the 7 years. So that's my thing with it. It's a pretty fair offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can agree with shortening service time. I don't see the idea of having the reward for having a player possibly become Rookie of the Year, possibly rank in the MVP or Cy Young conversation. I think it was top 3, correct?
Yeah, top 3.
I don't think that's gonna motivate a lot of these owners to bring in a player before that service time. What is it, like 7 days of service, or 7, or what is it? Sorry, it's like 92% of the season has to be played for it to count as your year. So I don't think that's going to hold back players from withholding service time. So I'd like to kind of work really on that. I think we need to kind of the incentive for you owners to pull back and manipulate the time of our great young star players is to save money, save an extra year of money essentially. And so we need to pull back and not not encourage or not reward that sort of behavior. And I'd like to discuss possibly decreasing what is required for service time. 92% is a grand, like large part of the year. And I'd like to bring it down to close to 60%. Still think it's a majority of the year. And it's going to, I think, dispel the owners from really holding someone out for up until June if they're ready to go.
Honestly, this sucks because I'm all about playing. Like you play before September, it should count as a year. Like if you're playing any baseball game before September call-up, it should count as a year. And I think that should be
You're
part of it.
spot.
I know, because I don't agree with Rob Manfred in everything he says.
So you'll take my compromise?
Yes.
That's fair. I give the point to Andrew on this one. One
It's hard, man.
I think he was winning either way. I mean, it's so tough.
Can't win that one.
It's so tough to fight for Manfred and so tough to fight for the owners with these little things, that happen that really we think makes baseball better. So, I mean, I'm giving the point to Andrew on that one. Excellent job. I mean, Nate kind of gave it to you, though. But
I can't do anything on that one.
You're not going to be like, yes, we're okay with manipulating service time of our young players.
Make it
That's
8.
a tough spot.
You get 8
Deny.
We don't do that.
Only the Mariners do that. They're the only ones that admitted to it.
All right. So I think this one's going to be a little bit better of an argument because I don't think there isn't a clear agreement on this. I think expanded playoffs, the owners argued for more teams, correct? Or was it the players argued for more teams?
14 teams, I think, is what the owners wanted. Players, I think, are okay with 12 teams.
Yep. So, Nate, you're arguing for 14. Andrew, 12. I think there's a good talking point on both ends here. I think it can happen both ways. So.
Yeah, I think 14 gives us more money, which allows for both sides to get more money. And I think that helps you guys because you can give it to some younger players, and it helps us because it grows the game. I think you look at what the NFL is, and it's a short season, and it's all about playoffs. And I think if we add an extra 2 teams, it makes the game more exciting. It allows more teams to get in it. It allows more fans to be involved, and it allows everyone to be excited for the entire year instead of like half the teams like, okay, we didn't make the playoffs. Actually, more than half the teams. Like in July, we didn't make the playoffs, so this thing's over. So I think adding 2 more teams would really help.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm actually surprised you use the talking point of tanking, but that's okay.
I'm not going there yet.
All right.
That's for another one.
So as a player, I like the 12-team idea, and I'm all on board with expanding or growing the game, creating more excitement in the game. What concerns me as a player is losing out on the competition through the season and the possibility of, if you're taking almost half the league and saying, hey, you're going into the playoffs, our team's going to not work as hard to create really competitive lineups. Will that eventually hurt contracts in some way? And will that just decrease the overall competition throughout the season? How do you respond to that?
I think that you're still trying to win a championship. So whether we're here playing 162 games or 158 games, I mean, we already have teams who don't play the last 2 weeks of the season. So it's just going to allow for more teams to compete that last week of the season, and we're going to have hopefully another year like we did in 2008, 2010 with the Red Sox, the Orioles, Yankees, Rays, that whole scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we're looking for, is more excitement and more people wanting to watch baseball. And if we have more of those type of games where game 162 matters and, more playoff games, I think everyone wins.
Honestly, I'm again, this is something, and I said it before, you're right on the border here with these two. I'm cool with 12. I'm cool with 14. I think 14 brings a little more money. I think it brings a little more excitement, just like in NCAA, I'd like to see maybe some more teams get into the playoffs. I don't know how players would like that, but I think more teams in the NCAA playoffs. So I'm kind of all for more teams in it, unfortunately here, Andrew. I kind of got to give – you're not a great –
That's a point for Nate. That's what I'm hearing.
I didn't think he would ever give me a point. That's actually really funny.
You're not a great lawyer.
It's funny because – you liked all the points I said, though. That's exactly what you just said is exactly what I just said. So
no, I'm for it. Like I said, I don't know, Andrew. Are you for it or against it? Like, would you like to see more teams? Like, not player wise, but normal.
Yeah. As a personal baseball fan, I'm for it. I don't honestly see a difference between 12 and 14. I honestly don't feel like the owners and players are arguing over that too much. I'm sure there's more kind of involved, and it's being more used as like a trading piece of sorts. I'm against what I was against was like a 16 team just out of principle. I just feel like more than half the league shouldn't be making playoffs because then it's just what's the point of playing 160?
Then it's just the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. So between 12, 14, I really don't care between those two. It doesn't make that much of a difference to me.
So I mean, we're both in kind of an increase, I think, in playoffs. So I'm all for it. More baseball, the better. But I think we would see a decrease in regular season, probably like 150 maybe. I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't happen right away, but I feel like eventually it might.
The only thing that –
Go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to say the only thing that concerns me would be the number one seed probably gets a bye. And how much is that really helping the number one seed if, the Dodgers win 120 games and, they rested the last week of the season and it's like, okay, now you get 2 weeks off. Basically. Yeah. It's like, so are they going to play the entire 162 and risk injury, or are they going to sit and say, you're going to go 2 weeks without seeing live? Good luck when we play, a team who just swept or a team who just, whatever, won the series. So that's the only thing.
Baseball is very momentum based. Huge momentum. You never know who's going to win. That's the cool thing about baseball. It's not like the NBA where the best teams, win it all. So I'm with it. Andrew, I don't know if you had another, talking point on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I like as a fan and maybe as a player wouldn't really want that bye week or whatever you would call it, that bye. Just because you're right, it's momentum. You lose a lot of momentum. I'm taken back to the 2014 Angels where we clinched within 2 weeks left of the season, had nothing really to play for up in those last 2 weeks, and then we just got bodied by the wild card team, the Royals, who had momentum and got good.
They were hot.
You're super hot. We're super hot, and that hurts to think about. I'm going to move on from that point. But
the Braves this year, 100%.
Yeah. But I'm all for expanding the playoffs, mostly because I hate the wild card game. I don't think a 162 game season should come down to one game. As much as I wanted to watch the Cardinals beat the Dodgers, I just don't think that's just not fair to a hardworking baseball team.
Yeah, I think 3 games at least. Like not a 3-game series.
3 games.
We said 3-game series for 2 through 7, and then they would whoever the 1 seed would get to play that like Friday.
Yeah, at the very least needs to be a 3-game set for sure. Just brings a lot more to the table. So last thing we're going to talk about here, and I feel like this is kind of a big talking point. I think that this is kind of a collaboration on everything as well, and it's teams tanking. I know, like I said, it's not a huge talking point on like both player side and owner side, but it's kind of the main premise, honestly, when you look at it of this lockout and what's going on, I think. So Nate, I'll let you take it away here.
We're not going to let Andrew start?
We can let Andrew start this time. That's fine. I mean, that's a disadvantage to Andrew, but go ahead.
I'll take the start here. I've got 2 points that I want to talk about to combat tanking. First of all, tanking just ruins the competition of the game. It stalls the progress of the game itself growing. So as players, we're very much so against tanking. It hurts our contracts. It hurts our fellow teammates to play on garbage teams just to sell some tickets. We as players support the lottery system. We'd like to see 8 to 10 teams in the lottery just because that with 8 to 10 teams, there's a wide mix of who can possibly get the number 1 spot. And it's kind of like, well, if you're in that 10, then you're already, have a shot at it as much as you are the team that's at, the worst in the league. So it really helps discourage tanking. And then also we want to institute a salary minimum. Teams without doubt are making enough. And you've got several teams out there who I think in 2021, there were 11 teams who had salaries that were under 100 million. And the last revenue count we had was almost every team made over 100 million in 2020. So that's a third of a season, which means most teams are making around $300 million a year. And having, say, payrolls that are under 100 million just isn't fair to the league and definitely promotes tanking and allows tanking for the teams that are trying to tank.
So first starting point is the players are playing the game. Like we can put whatever team we want on the field, but it comes down to the players wanting to play. And are some of these guys going to play at the level? Like we can give out $100 million contracts all we want, but are these guys actually going to play towards the $100 million that they've been given? So I don't think that there is tanking. Again, just bear with me on this. I don't think that there is tanking. I think that there are teams who are using strategies, who are trying to get better for the future. And, if they aren't winning as many games as maybe you guys would like. I mean, why don't you guys just get better? We're giving you opportunities. We're giving some of these young guys opportunities, which is what you want. You know, you want some of these young guys to be up earlier, and we're giving them a chance to play, whether it's for a team who's winning, 95 to 100 games, or whether it's a team who's losing 95 to 100 games. So we don't think that tanking's a big issue. We think that we're offering big contracts to you guys, and you guys just aren't playing to the level of expectancy. Like you look at Baltimore, Chris Davis was offered a big contract, and he hit my weight. So it's just one of those things where if you guys are afraid of tanking, well, then just get better.
Let's not bring Chris Davis into this conversation, huh? That was a low blow on the player.
Oh man.
But every player wants to play well. Every player wants to do good.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that when you've got nothing being built around you. I mean, the baseball is a mental game, and if our players have got talent and they're just on a team that's surrounded by a little bit of talent, and they're really only there to sell a few tickets, then it's hard to play with that. It's hard to play with that. You look at a guy, I think, just blanked on my. I just blanked.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. Arguably, the Angels haven't been tanking, but he's a guy who we've seen him kind of close out seasons early the last few years because of injury, but honestly, mild injuries that he probably could have played through. And he would have played through if he had the team around him that was worth playing. I was thinking of Will Myers, though. Will Myers is someone who rode it out on the Padres, a team that tanked and kind of built up a really nice farm system and really developed into a good team. But he's a guy who vocalized hey, it's nice to have some winners around me. It's nice to really play. And it showed in his performance. He played better once you kind of got that Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis around him. So I don't think it's as easy as just play better.
And part of it too, though, is you look at some of those teams that you're talking about, the teams that aren't spending money, and those teams are in the playoffs. Oakland's not spending money. They were, a borderline playoff team this last year. They've been in the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. Tampa Bay was just in the World Series 2 years ago, and they don't spend money. So it's hard to say that just because some of these owners don't spend the money doesn't mean that we're not trying to win. Maybe we're just doing things a little bit differently. But yeah, I think that's a big deal with, not all of us are billionaires. Not all of us are the Steve Cohen of the Mets. We can't just go throw hundreds of millions of dollars at every single player. But as long as we're trying to put a team out there that wins, and whether you guys think we're trying or not, that's kind of up to you guys.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think then on your end, if you believe that, then there needs to be a culture shift within the owners, because there are those owners who aren't putting together good teams and are having terrible payouts. You look at the Cleveland Indians, who sold off after 2020, the Baltimore Orioles, who struggled at the bottom for a while, the Marlins, who are working on it but have struggled at the bottom and having a terrible payroll for a while. Change the culture in the owners that if you're going to buy a baseball team, come to compete. Don't come because you just want to make money.
Yeah, and I think that goes for both of us. Maybe it's something where we could work something out where maybe your contracts have an option in it where if you guys aren't performing, we'll have 2 options. If you're performing well, you can opt out and go to another team. If you're not performing well, we can cut you and we don't have to pay you. Maybe that's something that we could talk about where it could get you out of tanking. Because if you don't like the team you're on, play really well and opt out. And if you're not playing well, like some of the guys I've mentioned, then we can just cut you, and I don't have to worry about paying $35 million for a guy hitting 152.
Sounds like less money for me as a player, and I'd rather not do that.
Well, then perform, right? It comes down to performing.
Nate, you're really hammering away that thing.
I mean,
it's a fair argument.
The Orioles are paying Chris. They were paying Chris Davis a lot of money to suck at baseball, and they were paying Dylan Bundy some money. They were paying Alex Cobb a lot of money. You look, and maybe they were really, really bad at baseball. The Orioles were really, really bad. I'm not saying that they weren't, but they were actually trying based on contracts and stuff. So it's kind of funny that Baltimore gets picked on for being bad at baseball, but it's hey. They spent a lot of money. They just had guys who sucked.
It's not like Oakland where they're just going out and not spending money. What's probably going to happen when this lockout ends, which is going to be Oakland is going to be Oaklandless in a sense. Everybody's going to get traded. I would assume there has to be trades lined up with Oakland around the corner. Yeah, it has to happen. Like, there's no way that Oakland's going to make it through, or
And
that
yet Oakland did this, what, 5 years ago, and they've been in the playoffs more times than the Angels in those 5 years. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just funny how, like, I agree, tanking is an issue, and I'm totally just trying to be an owner now. But I do think that there should be a bigger lottery. I think 10 teams is probably fair, but I don't know. It's just interesting when you look at some of these teams that have not been successful. They just kind of get unlucky with one free agent or two and an injury, and next thing you know, they go from being, oh, hey, this could be a borderline playoff team, kind of like the Angels last year. Like, they were a borderline playoff team, and Trout goes down, Rendon goes down, and it's like, oh crap! Like, all they have is Shohei Ohtani, and he can't do this on his own.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, can I give it a tie to both you guys? Because you guys both. I mean, even Nate. Like, Nate, I know you're arguing for the owners there, and I know
You got the challenge, man. Honestly.
Yeah, you argued that. You argued it very well. But I got to give it to Andrew because I'm going to go with the player side of things. I started to get your hopes up there, big guy.
I heard tie.
The lockout is over.
Lockout's over officially. I'm not going to name this podcast that. That'd be
false advertising.
Oh my goodness, I get you out for that one. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what happens in general with all of this, because it definitely feels like I started this off with, that tanking is one of the main reasons why this lockout is really happening. And then, you know, like, when you look at it, tanking turns into less money, like the money side of things, and of course money owns everything, of course. So there's that, and how much money is going to get paid to players. So I mean, when you look at it, like, if teams weren't tanking, it's not that we'd have a lockout right now. I'm sure we still would, but we wouldn't be nearly as bad, because there's a lot of stuff wrong with baseball. But hey, great job. I like that a lot. Thanks for bringing that up first, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Even though I didn't argue it, and I put Nate kind of on the spot. Good job, Nate.
Thanks, Jared.
Did that as well.
You did good.
You did really good. So I think we're good here, Andrew. Again, I appreciate it so much for you hopping on. Whenever you want to come on and vent or talk some baseball, you let me know. We'll make it happen. I definitely have to get you on some more.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
You again, man. Where can they follow you? All that fun stuff. Now that they know who the man, the myth, the legend is behind the great Instagram page.
Yeah, Angels Top Plays on Instagram. Again, that's like the homepage. That's where everything started. And we're working on some new things, or I'm working on some new things, trying to put some new stuff together, some new platforms. So keep an eye out for that. And Twitter Plays, or @Plays Angels is where I am on Twitter.
Is there a team with it? Like, do you have other people that work with you? You mean shout out if they are.
Yeah, no, actually it's just me. My brother's helped me out a few times when I've needed it, but I've always been kind of the one behind it, running it.
Yeah, cool. I wasn't sure if there was a couple of you guys. Like, I mean, I can't do it without Nate. Just kidding, I can. So, guys, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. Again, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on, taking the time, talking with us, screwing around a little bit. It was an absolute blast meeting you and talking with you. So thank you so much on that side of things. Guys, if you could subscribe to this podcast, go follow Andrew as well if you don't already. I have to assume everybody does, man. Everybody does. Everybody knows who we are. You're the man, the myth, the legend.
We're getting close to 50,000. I'm excited.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool, man. Help this man get to 50,000 on Instagram. That's super cool, man. So, guys, subscribe to this podcast if you're listening or watching us on YouTube or wherever you're listening to us. Subscribe to it. Leave us a review, whether it's good or bad, so we can get better or worse, whatever you guys want us to do. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34. From all of us here at Talking Halos, thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.